Drop it and run, actually. All right, my first guest must be making a media appearance or something. I was assured he'd be here, but he's not, so we're going to start without him, and hopefully he will show up, or we're in deep doo-doo. First, couple things I want to mention. For those of you who know Dennis Hundley, he is now home. He spent about 2 weeks in the hospital. He's recovering, although very slowly. Hopefully, eventually, he will get back in the battle. Mike Smith, who's normally around here for a little while during the Tuesday nights, hasn't been here in about 5 weeks. He's sick, having problems. Hopefully, he'll get resolved come Thursday when he visits his medical staff. Want to mention also, if you have any aches and pains, whether it's your limbs, your back, your neck, it doesn't matter. Dr. Rob Schroeder can help you out. He studied, in addition to the neck and back, all the limbs. He can help you with your arm, your shoulders, anything. If you got a problem, he's a chiropractor. To see his number is 317-388-8577. Call him up, make an appointment. You'll be glad that you did. Also, if you're interested in simulating racing, Kelly Jones at Racecraft One will help you out. Give him a call, 317-998-9138. Set up a time, go up, and he'll let you use his equipment, see how it works. You might have a good time. And should you, by chance, have a problem with your computer, do what I do, because if my computer doesn't go on, to me, that's a problem. I call it computer overdrive. I talk to Jack. He can solve anything. His number is 317-328-0766. Trust me when I tell you, if you got a problem, he can fix it. And when you see the building, they're located at 5240 Crawfordsville Road, and on top of the building it says free checkup. So you can go to, I'm sorry, am I too loud? Whoever's shouting. Give them a call. They'll help you out. And welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2016 show presented by Honda and Honda HPD. Founded in 1993 to spur Honda's entry into IndyCar racing, Honda Performance Development has overseen successful racing efforts at all levels of the sport, from karting and quarter midgets to IndyCar and prototype sports cars. HPD offers race engines, competition products for the professional, amateur, and entry-level racers. For more information on HPD and the company's racing product lines, please visit hpd.honda.com. That's hpd.honda.com. And I might want to mention, if you didn't notice, Honda won the Rolex 24 with former IndyCar driver Scott Sharp at the wheel as the owner of the team. They won. Good job for them. Now, I'm being joined by a gentleman who is himself a TV producer and an executive, and when he gets done with this, he's going to fire me, I'm sure. You are Steve
Erisman.
Steve Erisman, and he's here to talk about the Speedway War Memorial Foundation, which I was handed the paper 9.5 minutes ago.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You got it 10 minutes ago. Steve, welcome to Autosport. Tell me, what is the Speedway War Memorial Foundation? What is it? What's it about?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. The Speedway War Memorial Foundation was formed in March of last year to design, build, and maintain a war memorial and speedway for our residents who've made the ultimate sacrifice. So basically, we're going to be located at 1050 Main Street, which is, I probably shouldn't say this here, right in front of Charlie Brown's, in front of the old IPL power station. There will be an opportunity for folks to purchase bricks if they want to honor somebody that's been in service, or if they just want to make a donation. And I also want to ask if anybody knows anybody who was in the military, a Speedway resident, that was killed in action, get a hold of us. We'll have some information here for you in a little bit. We want to make sure we don't miss anybody when we get the memorial built. That kind of wraps it up. That's basically what we do and what we're going to do, and we're going to dedicate Memorial Day this year, so it'll be the day after the race.
And what do you have to have done to qualify for this? It says for residents who made the ultimate sacrifice. Well,
in other words,
I fell off a bar stool. Does that count?
Not even close.
And I hurt myself, too.
Not even close. In other words, you had to be killed in action. Oh. Now, if you want to buy a brick, they could buy a brick to honor you falling off that bar stool.
I think I will do that myself.
Well, we'd be happy to do that.
And how much are the bricks?
Bricks are $100.
And where is all this going to take place? Where is it going to be?
1050 Main Street,
Where is that?
right in front of Charlie Brown's.
Charlie Brown's?
Yeah,
So you can go look at the things, go get something to eat, and come back and look at more.
yeah.
That works for me.
Actually, it's right where the old IPL power station is. They took the last of their equipment out this week, so
Oh, sure. The minute they move, you grabbed it, huh?
you bet.
Oh, boy. How long has this been in the works?
Since March of last year.
Wow, that's fairly quick.
Well,
You got to move.
got to move.
What do you get on a brick? You get your name, you get a memorial to somebody?
You can put whatever you want. There's 3 lines, 14 characters each line. When I say whatever you want now, we can't get carried away here.
I understand
It has
that.
to be PG.
I see, okay. And when does this officially start? When can somebody order? And if so, where do they go?
They can order right now, right here.
Okay.
Or they can go on our Facebook page, which is Speedway War Memorial Foundation. Or they can get a hold of me at swmf@comcast.net. Or they can give me a call at area code 317-361-3375.
Now, Speedway War Memorial Foundation, that thus comes the swmf@comcast.net, right?
You're sharp. I can't put anything past
I'm
you.
just slicker than you know what in a doorknob, huh? Well, listen, I hope it takes off, and we will mention it now from time to time. And thank you for taking...
Just as a note, it has taken off.
Oh.
Allison Transmission has coughed up $25,000 for us to start with.
Is there any room left at $100 a thing? I mean,
Oh no, the bricks are just $100. This is above and beyond that.
What, are they going to build this thing, the little wall?
No, we're having to build that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's neat. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm sure there are a lot of people here who would like to honor those from Speedway who did, as it says here, the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you for taking your time to come in here. And I'll mention it, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of bricks.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve. I just got a text, so while he was talking, I'm fooling around texting, which I'm not real good at. I'm not real good at a lot of things, but that's one of them. Come on. And my first guest will be arriving here shortly. Well, he's going to be, they said they misunderstood the timing. Well, I sent it specific, but no big deal. He'll have to wait. And I think I just see him, but he's going to have to wait. I have
Well, doesn't this now make me your first guest? No, actually your second, because you just had him.
Oh. Dalton, is that you? 7:30. Sorry.
You've been preempted.
I have. Yeah, you've been preempted by some real heavy hitter. I wanted to tell you that right now. This gentleman joining me is a young man that I've known off and on for a few years. He was formerly spent 10 years with the 500 Festival. Upon leaving there, the Hall of Fame Museum Foundation felt sorry for him, so they gave him a job. They found out he couldn't sweep worth a hoot, so they moved him up another floor. He wasn't too good at that either. So now he is up on the main floor and is involved in a lot of the reconfiguration, for lack of a better word at the moment, of the museum. And in April, late April or May, when you get here, people that have been here are going to go through and say, holy smoke, what's happened? We're going to find out what's happened, and we've got a few things we can give away, compliments of the museum. Please welcome my long personal friend, Mr. Dave Wilson.
Well, thank you very much, Don. It is an absolute pleasure to be here, and thanks for having us.
I'm sure you're thrilled to death.
Is the server okay? We're not going to spike the hits or anything. We're going to be fine?
Oh, no, we're YouTube can handle it all. 10 years at the 500 Festival. That had to be kind of a fun thing to do, because there's so much that goes on, so many people and sponsors and people come in involved, and it'd be a lot of fun. It had to be a good job.
It was an absolute dream come true for a boy from Indianapolis, and my grandmother took me to my first Indy 500. My dad didn't want to go, my uncles didn't want to go, so my grandmother took a 12-year-old boy, and we had seats in the Tower Terrace area, and I cannot drink Budweiser to this day because of what I saw walking to those seats with my grandmother. It's like ZZ Top took all their clothes off and started mudsliding, and it was incredible, and our routine the day before was always to go to the parade. So I grew up reading the newspaper because I love the pictures of the cars, the blue streak, the news, the Indianapolis News throughout the day. So I grew up around it. She took me until I got a driver's license. I took her, and then ended up in a career in newspapers where they had the pictures of the cars. And the Great 500 Festival became a client of mine, and then they hired me. So I got to talk about May in Indianapolis for a living around community events such as the parade and the mini marathon, the memorial service on Friday on Monument Circle. There are just so many different things that the festival's done for the community, and to be part of that history for a decade was tremendous.
So with all of that, and what the hell are you doing at the museum?
Well,
if I come there, you're going to take me on a tour?
We don't have things that old there.
Oh. No, I got to tell you.
You said off and on. I didn't know if that was going to be.
You notice I have these little things. That's from being beat up by somebody. I won't mention any names, but their initials are Sharon. So I'm used to this kind of treatment. I want you to know, but.
Well, I think the great thing about the festival is it had 60 years of people that were committed to evolving it and changing it. It used to have a gin rummy tournament, a square dance, so a golf tournament in the 60s. So it sort of really evolved and really brought people together. And I think the Motor Speedway for 100 years has brought people together on Memorial Day weekend. I think the festival events are one-day events throughout the month of May. The museum is open 363 days a year, and it's an opportunity to be May every day. And one of the things that really attracted me is that the museum has such tremendous assets to talk about the history of the place that we all love. And it hasn't. It's done a great job with what it has in showing those assets to the public. And I think the opportunity is to evolve, similar to the festival, to make it interactive, engage young fans. With all the technology that's out there. There's speed. Every day when I walk into work, the Marmon Wasp is there right next to Dan Weldon's car. And if you want to talk about science, technology, engineering, and math, no better than racing. And you want to get kids hands-on. And we're at a unique point at the museum where we're really taking a hard look at what that experience is, because the cars are great, but how do we get that story and that emotion out of to remind people what it is the very first time you go through there. And everybody who comes to us year-round needs to come back. We get so many people who travel through the city, through the state, and once they're here, they can't believe it. I mean, I'll bet everybody here went to their first race being taken by a family member or a close family friend, and then it's stuck for life. So how do we do that every single day? And I think that's what's exciting about being in the museum right now.
Well, I'm going to argue with you. I got brought by a guy I thought was my friend, and I've been here 60 years. I'm not sure I like him anymore, actually. The museum is a unique place in and of itself. It changes only in that they move cars around and bring new cars up and display them depending on the time of year or what's going on. They'll bring up different vehicles. I understand that not only below the museum, but around town there are vehicles all over. There's a bazillion, that's an exaggeration, 42 cars, so that it can evolve. Now, what are you doing to the museum now? I understand offices, people have been moved out of their offices in the East End, and you're expanding. What are you going to do back there?
That's right. We've got, under the leadership of our executive director, Betsy Smith, who's worked with
she's
the
here.
board and the whole
Say hello
museum
to Betsy,
staff right down
right
here,
here,
who's been with us about a year and a half and kind of helped evolve the process to the point where if you look at the east, the back part of the building, kind of the back third, the inside's gone. 6,000 square feet. A hammer has swung in the building for the first time in 40 years. And we now have 6,000 more square feet of exhibit space. And this is all happening really fast. And so part of the opportunity right now is to figure out, what do we do with it? We've got an awful lot of great, fantastic vehicles in the basement, and then we could bring those up. Or the mythical basement. It may exist, it may not.
Yes. I've never seen it,
may
so
not,
I
it
don't
may
know.
Not. There's a mop and a lawnmower down there. That's all there is.
There used to be a broom until they gave it to you, and that didn't work. So,
well, how do you think I got here? So we're looking at all the interactivity. Are there great exhibits that we could be doing? If you look at the artists that have done the covers of the Indy 500 program over the years, it's some really heavy hitters, and they're a part of this history. Displays, helmets, uniforms, tickets. I mean, with the Verizon relationship and Panasonic out at the track, we create interactive experiences for kids. So we're really working hard right now to figure out how to really maximize that space so that when you do come in April, the place is going to look different, and the experience is going to be different, and we're going to grow on that. The challenge for us is that we're an independent, not-for-profit foundation. And so we are completely separate from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, even though we adorn their front yard. So one of the great challenges is talking about, much like the festival, we're an independent not-for-profit that's somewhat dependent on the track. And for us, we need to be thinking about donors and building a membership base. If you go to the Children's Museum or the Zoo or the Art Museum, you're a member. Well, what's that member experience now? One level could include a trip to the basement. Kiss the Bricks tours. We're going to be active in creating new exhibits to give you a reason to come back more than once a year so that you'll be engaged many times. Creating a speaker series. Anybody here heard of Donald Davidson?
No.
All right. We can create, and Eddie Sachs Jr. and Bill Shaw, Billy Vukovic. There's so many great personalities that we could talk to and bring out to the museum 363 days a year to engage fans and people and really celebrate the history. But that takes money, and part of our challenge is to shift the dialogue to say, well, if they wanted the museum to be better, the Motor Speedway would just write a check. Well, they can't. And they necessarily should. They are incredibly generous to us. But to make that next step to the evolution, we're going to have to get community partners involved, individuals involved, and really start spreading the word that, that you guys can make a difference in what that experience is for Hoosiers and our guests.
Now, since a number of people who are engaged, for lack of a better word, with the museum, why don't you introduce who's here, who came with you besides Ms. Smith?
Well, absolutely. I'll tell you, we've got great folks. Mr. Hank Arnold here, the gentleman who has the nice yellow Corvette outside, is leading all of the, I think it's still outside. Did you leave the keys in it? I asked you not to. Oversees all of the museum hosts that are incredibly knowledgeable about the cars and work on the floor. Brian Bobe, next to him, is one of our best tour guides and oversees a lot of the folks that are on the buses taking the lap around the track as part of the tour. Mike Smith in the back, well-known gearhead executive, is in charge of our bus tours and scheduling the tours for groups, which he and his team has come up with the Kiss the Bricks tour, where now people can the bus actually stops on the yard of bricks, and you can get out and get your photo taken on it. And there's more history, and so people are actually standing on the track as opposed to just going around it, which is great. It's just been out of sight. Jason Van Sickle, right there, is probably the most knowledgeable guy on cars I've met, and he's younger than me significantly, which is embarrassing.
He knows more or he's younger?
Well, a lot of people know
or
more.
Both.
The younger is kind of getting me more than anything else right now. But his knowledge of the collection that we have and how to present it and the history and the value and the experience has been tremendous. My favorite, Marty Gray, who works the front desk, will take your money, and you're welcome to give more, and works on all the ticketing and groups. And then Betsy. So we've got a couple folks that aren't here tonight. Kind of a curator of the museum, kind of director, and Ellen Byerly, who's been there for a long, long time, has done a great job with keeping the cars up and planning some of the exhibits that we've got right now and coming up, like the Team Penske 50th anniversary exhibit. Cars, nothing cooler than watching 6 winning Indy 500 champion cars get loaded off of a semi, and you're like, that's Bobby Unser's, and that's Spin to Win, and that's Al Unser's fourth.
Rick Mears.
The 79 car. it's going to be a tremendous, and then a bunch of cars that were part of Team Penske that didn't run in the Indy 500. You've got a 68 Trans Am Camaro, a 69 Lola that Mark Donohue drove, Porsche. So getting a lot of those types of things out there is going to be engaging a whole new group of people.
I venture to say that some of the cars that you're talking about that aren't Indy cars, they've also won. He's won at everything.
I think he's won at every level, and it's an amazing 50-year career, and no better place to have it than at a place where he's made history with his 16 wins, and he certainly doesn't look like he's slowing down at all.
I can say with a straight face that I watched him race at Meadowdale Raceway outside of Chicago, a sports car track that was built there, and I watched him there in the probably mid to late 60s, I think it was, and he won the race. Yeah. And Peter Revson was there, if I'm not mistaken, and I forget who else. Can't remember.
He's got a great history.
Oh.
And I think, and that's one of the things that the museum is challenged to preserve. IndyCar has got a tremendous history, particularly here at the Motor Speedway we sit here. But the automotive history and the relationships and the people that have worked on it, I mean, those are the folks that we need to have around to tell the stories and to get people excited about what it is that the Indy 500 and the automotive industry has done in Indianapolis. And I think we're uniquely positioned to do that because of the assets that we have, and hopefully growing into educational components, which will help. You know, with IUPUI and Purdue having motorsports programs, I mean, we can really move Indiana forward. So we're on the ground floor right now.
Speaking of Purdue University, I have Mr. White scheduled in the next couple of weeks to be here to talk about what they're doing, a lot of which is happening right here at Speedway. He's got some events going on, and I-Step, and a lot of really neat things they're doing.
Absolutely.
What attracted you to come to work for the museum? I mean, I got to think probably during the year of the 500 festival isn't that pressure pack necessary, but you start to get to March, April.
A lot of golf, is that what you're implying?
All right, you play a lot of golf, but it's all business, trying to get sponsors and so forth. But come March, April, May, it's got to be pressure packed 24/7.
Yeah, it changes. It's a lot of early mornings, but that's kind of the balance of what life is, right? And I think we taking a wall down, trying to develop sponsors for exhibits in a short amount of time right now. I think we know that the next 120 days, 116 till the race, with all the eyeballs that are going to be on Speedway and the town, for where we want to be. The museum's been around for 60 years since Mr. Holman established it in '56, and in this building since '77. So we've moved more in the last 4 months than has happened in the building in the last 40 years. And the next 30 days is really going to position us for what the experience is in April and May when these folks are here in town. And that's going to set us up for what we are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now, because it matters. And we're positioned to evolve, and everybody's been working hands on deck. I think when we moved upstairs, I came in on a weekend thinking I'd get some work done. I think there were 9 people painting. People were working all the time at the museum, 363 days a year, and doing everything. And so we need to get people engaged so that we can grow that staff, grow the experience, and it'll just snowball upwards.
Is the executive over there, Miss Smith, is she a slave driver? Would I say 9 people on a weekend painting? Would you consider her to be a slave driver, maybe?
I like to think, because she hired some people I know and that are very close to me, like me, that she just identifies people who wouldn't rather, who wouldn't want to be anyplace else. And I think that's what, if we had, they just work so hard to make the experience great for the guests, and they love it. And I think that's what we need to get out and get people engaged with, people who have said, yeah, I was at the museum years ago. Well, we need to get them to come back and have that same passion and leave with that passion and bring their friends, because that's how the Indy 500 is going to survive. Indy 500 doesn't suffer from a lack of awareness. Its opportunity is getting more people engaged. And I think we can do that, for the betterment of IndyCar, right?
Now, you were kind enough, you and Miss Smith, of course. Without her, it wouldn't happen. I have some tickets. Rat cheer. I'll give away tonight a couple tickets for a bus tour and a couple tickets for a museum tour. You don't have to use them tomorrow. You may want to wait until April before everybody comes into town, see what they've done. But come and see me after the program. I'll give a pair away tonight, and then down the road we'll give away another pair. And some lucky individual, I have several pair, but I'm going to give away one that is a, what the hell do they call it?
Kiss the Bricks tour?
No, this one, the big one, the grounds tour.
Grounds tours.
It's an hour-and-a-half tour. You get to see everything. The pagoda, the media center, you get to see everything. Tour the museum as well.
These guys are good.
And if you're lucky and you get into the museum for a tour, you might see Dave. Probably won't be working, but he'll be there. But I'll give away one of these tonight as well, so see me after the program.
Give the
now,
Parnelli
wait a
book.
minute. I'm getting to that.
Sorry.
They were also kind enough to bring a copy of The Cars of Vel Melitich and Parnelli Jones. I have one copy. See who I like most, who will get it. Trust me, who I like most. And if you're a young lady and smile well, that could be the one I like most. I don't know. But come and see me about that after the program. How much was it difficult when the museum contacted you to stay to come to work here? Was that a tough decision?
Not at all. Not at all. It's after 10 years, we'd had incredible success at the festival and had gotten to a point where, I think everything was running about as well as it could. And this opportunity to be part of something that, even though it's been around forever, 60 years, we're really taking it in a whole new direction. And it's been interesting. We're building a great infrastructure, and there's no lack of ideas and passion. So I think everybody wants to leave a legacy, and this place, we're caretakers of it right now, and how can we make it fantastic for the next generation? And I'm very honored to have an opportunity to be a part of that.
Now, the museum, from time to time, I've been to places and events, and they have brought some of the cars for display outside of Indianapolis. In fact, outside of Indiana, I've seen several times. Does the museum still do that for certain qualified events?
We developing relationships. We have relationships across the country. The Borg Warners just made a great appearance, I think, at the Detroit Auto Show, Auctioner Concourse in Arizona. Jay, how many states have you been in this year already? 5? Yeah, 9. 9.
I mean, this year already. It's only February 2nd.
9 states. And so we're working to reach out to be a part of these places. And I think that's one of the things where we can really be an asset to the Motor Speedway, because we are open 363 days a year. We do have cars, the Borg Warner Trophy. And so in terms of physical assets, when they're not here in May, we can help support that and keep it top of mind and engage folks, auto enthusiasts, and make new fans.
I got news for you. You have harped on this 363 days. I just saw her say, watch this, 365. Sporty.
Is it a leap year?
Well, if you jump high enough, it could be. It's obvious to me, and it is, yes, you're right, that enthusiasm is your middle name, because I've known you from the 500 Festival to see what that group put together when you have 33,000 people want to go out and run around town. I had a guy come from Colorado for one reason. He runs marathon. He wanted to run around the track. And he's been here many times. He said, when I ran in there and I got on it, I never realized how big it is. That's a big piece of ground. It's amazing. I've talked to a number. In fact, her granddaughter came and ran in, and when she said, good grief, that place is big. You don't realize it until you get out and start trotting along. I'm not that dumb. I drive around in a van.
Well, now you can spend 90% less, have a bus drive you around the track, stop and let you out and kiss the bricks, and we don't have a medal, but we got a nice button that says, I kiss the bricks. So you don't have to run. You don't have to pay as much. You still get on the track, and Mike and Bobe give you a great button.
Can you imagine walking into a gin mill and you got a sign, I kiss the bricks? Somebody's going to say, this guy's a Looney Tune. What the hell's he talking about? David, I appreciate you taking the time and bringing your colleagues along with you. I do notice, however, there's a young lady sitting at the end of the table looking at her stupid phone now, I might add. And she's from France. How the hell did she get? What's that got to do with the price of eggs? Did you bring her? Is this part of your entourage?
A lot of fans of the museum, Don. And if you're interested in some membership information and some of the great benefits we have, be sure to come see me. Jim Smith manages our membership program, does it full time, has put together a great program. It's historic because we've never had one. And so there's going to be great opportunities between now and year round. Like that's a unit of time. Where were you on that one? How come you didn't stop me there?
No, you're doing well. Keep going.
So come see us. It's a great opportunity, and we'd love to have you. Well,
If you can't believe there's something going on at the museum, then you haven't been paying attention. Guy that I'm pleased to say I know and am going to go over and visit, not as often as your other friend who's there every other day, because I'm not going to do that, but I'll stop by and say hello. And I want to see Miss Smith. I want to see if she yells at me. I'm going to be
Chances
there.
are.
I'm sure. That's what I'm afraid of.
Don, thanks for having me.
Dave Wilson.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
You notice most of the people clapping for him were sitting at his table. I'm going to take a quick break here to mention that tonight's show is presented by Sam Pierce Chevrolet in Daleville, Indiana. You got to come to the country to find out the best prices for the cars are in the country. Sam Pierce Chevrolet is located on I-69 North to exit 34, exit east 1 mile, and you won't miss him. And you'll also find out why Sam, when he sells you a car, he doesn't stand behind you, he stands alongside you. And you'll also find why he always wins the Customer Satisfaction Award for his service. Nothing better than Sam Pierce Chevrolet. And if you're interested in a two-seater ride at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway or around the country, wherever IndyCar goes, you can go and call the office, 317-243-7171, extension 106. Talk to Shonda. Find a date you can be here and go for a ride, and mention my name, Don K., and you get 20% discount. Now, you can't beat that with a stick. Or you can go to IndyRacingExperience.com and look up the dates they're functioning, and you'll figure out just exactly what date works for you. And call them. Again, mention my name, 20% discount. The 100th running will mean there'll be a lot of company and family parties. If you're having a group coming into town, you want to put on a good party, I got something to do for you to do. Call Tony Meyer, Special Events Professional. She is used to handling big events and can get people here in town and back out of town very easily, very efficiently, and you'll have a great time. She can be reached on their cell at 317-515-7929 or email her at tmeyer, M-E-Y-E-R, Indy63. She's not 63 years old. tmeyer, Indy63 at AOL.com. And if you're a vintage car fanatic, this weekend is the opening for the SVRA. They're going to be in the Duel in the Desert with VARA in Rump, Nevada from February 5th to the 7th. If you like antique vintage cars, that's the place to be. You'll love it. And now I want to remind you, if you are a vintage car fan, you need to go to svra.com and subscribe to their Vintage Racing Quarterly magazine. It is without a doubt the best magazine of its kind in America. Sign up for it, get it, you'll love it. It's a great publication, you'll enjoy it. And if you want to know what all these guys are doing in IndyCar, the Mazda Road to Indy, you got to go to tracksideonline.com, subscribe to it. It's only $22 a year, and you'll get more emails on more things going on than you can possibly imagine. You'll find out everything that went on today for the media day, testing, qualifying, whatever it is. And if you sign up between now and the 1st of March, I believe it is, you'll get the Pro Mazda edition that's just starting this year. You get it for free, so check it out. Now, my first guest is a gentleman. He and I are very close. I just shook his hand for the first time. He is an up-and-coming young driver from Canada. He has won numerous titles throughout his career. Last year he was in the Pro Mazda Series, and this year he's moving up, driving for Andretti Autosport in the Indy Lights. We're going to find out what's with him, what it's about, and he just graduated from college, and this, I got to find out about this one. Please welcome Mr. Dalton Collette.
Thank you very much for having me, Don.
Thanks for coming by.
No problem. I gotta say, it's probably a good thing that I'm here second, because I've got to say to Dan and his team, I've been in the museum more than a couple times, and you guys are doing a great job.
You graduated from Queen's University in Toronto, I believe.
In Kingston, Ontario.
Kingston, I'm sorry. Lucky I know Canada. What did you get a degree in?
So I got a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Physics.
Engineering Physics. What the hell are you doing here talking to me? I can't even spell it. What is Engineering Physics? I mean, that's not your average engineering degree.
Yeah, so it's a program similar to mechanical engineering. There's 4 options that you can go into: engineering physics, mechanical, materials, electrical, or computing. I went into material science, and basically it's like mechanical materials engineering, but more math and more physics and slightly less applied stuff.
So you're a mathematician. Don't give me
Occasionally.
So when you're in the car, and I bet you ask your engineer some questions. You say, "What the hell brought that on?"
Oh, I drive him crazy sometimes.
That's what I'm thinking. What got you into racing? Why?
Actually, my dad's quite a car guy. He has a passion for American muscle cars. He's restored a couple of cars, and the guy who did that restoration work, his kids race go-karts, and we were friends growing up. We used to race Articat, what are they called, kitty cat snowmobiles on frozen lakes and all that. And when they started racing cars, I said, "Hey, Mom and Dad, I would want to get into that." And eventually, after many years of nagging, they finally let me when I was 14, and that's pretty much how it started.
And then did they tell you, "All right, we'll allow this, but you're going to go to school, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a degree"?
It wasn't that they forced me to go to college.
Encouraged you.
Yeah, they encouraged strongly, but I think I would have done it regardless, because I myself, I have a passion for STEM and science and all that, and I just think that it wouldn't have been a wise decision to bank everything on racing. It's good to have a fallback.
I guess. Does the physics part, or the mechanical physics, does that apply to race cars? Can you apply what you learned to the car? Are there areas that work?
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that really helped. One of the biggest things that I did in college, I think as a direct application to racing, was I was part of my school's Formula SAE team. And basically what that program is, it's a team of college students, and you actually design and build a small race car. It's an open wheel car. It can have wings. It can pretty much whatever you want, and you get to race it against other schools. So doing that, I learned tons about vehicle dynamics, engines, aerodynamics, all of that. So there's a lot that I learned there that I can relate with my engineers with.
I got to take a wild guess at this one. I bet you've asked your engineer question. You said, "Huh?" Have you asked him anything? You wasn't sure what you said?
No, I think most of the guys that are pretty much all of the guys that I've worked with have been top notch, and there's no one that I've been able to stump up yet. So,
how did you sign up with Michael Andretti and Andretti Autosport?
When I was racing back in F2000, one of the first mechanic that I worked with, he went to work with Andretti Autosport, and in 2013 I was racing with Team Pelfrey. And for the 2014 season, we were looking at options. We were talking to a couple of teams, and since he was then, or at that time, he had moved up to be the manager of their Pro Mazda team. So that's kind of how I got the in there. And then I basically just started talking to them, and we organized a test, and they were happy, and we went from there.
Now you've tested a good amount of time, seat time in the new Indy Lights car. How is the transition from USF 2000 to Pro Mazda to Indy Lights? Is it big jumps between the two, or is the biggest one from Pro Mazda to Indy Lights?
The biggest is definitely Pro Mazda's Indy Lights, especially with the new IL-15. It's a lot of car. There's a lot of downforce, a lot more horsepower. The jump between F2000 and Pro Mazda isn't as big. So, definitely the Pro Mazda to Lights jump is the biggest.
How long did it take you to get comfortable in the seat? Because the cars are considerably quicker. Mm-hmm. And they got a lot more downforce, so you can go into a corner a lot harder than you used to be able to. Was it hard to get the feel, or did you pick it up pretty quick?
I think I picked it up pretty quick with the new car. I had done some testing and the first 2 laps of a lights race in 2013 before I hit the wall.
Oh, you got that out of the way then. You've hit the wall. That's over
yeah,
with.
so we kind of got that over with. So yeah, the first test day in the new lights car, I think I jumped into it pretty quick. Probably the first 15, 20 laps just to get a feel for the turbo, and that was the first time I had ever used paddle shift. So that was one of the bigger things actually was not having to take your hand off the wheel and downshift and upshift. So yeah.
Do you like having a paddle shift, or do you rather move? A little more active. It give you something to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn, to be honest. Like, the paddle shifts are really cool. They're you feel like it's like a it's like an F1 car kind of thing. It's like all the fancy cars have paddle shifts, but then you lose some of that old fashioned, like, raw, just pure race car feel. I think.
What have your parents said since you have graduated from school? You've got a degree. Now you're driving professionally at this time in Indy cars, in racing. Do they think it's a good idea? They say, good move, go to college, now go race?
Yeah, they're totally behind it. I mean, I think if I hadn't gone to college, they'd be a little bit more hesitant about it. But since I have that, they're 100% behind me. They try to come to as many of the races as they can. So yeah, it's a big family thing for us.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
One older sister, yeah.
Does she drive? Did she ever drive?
No, she's not a driver.
Is she into horses?
For a while, I think she was when she was younger. Yeah.
You think she was? Well, you didn't hang around and watch? You were going to school. You were racing.
Yeah, I was busy.
How old are you? You said you started racing at 14, and you were in a number of karting series around the world and did very, very well. Is karting a good way to start to get to where you want to go, which I understand is the Verizon IndyCar Series? That's your main goal. Is that a good place to start? Do kids learn the feel of a car and so forth from starting in karting?
I think so, yeah. I think if you want to be prepared to jump into cars and have good racecraft, go-karting is definitely the place to start. There's so many options. I can't speak to which option is the best option, whether you want to do 4-stroke go-kart or Rotax or oval karts or all that, but definitely getting behind the wheel of a kart when you're young and cutting your teeth there is a great choice.
What's your favorite kind of racetrack? Do you like road courses? Do you like street courses? Do you like ovals, big, small, whatever? Or do you like them all?
I'm not really partial. I mean, I find the street courses the most intense. The ovals are probably the most heady. You have to think a lot on them, and then road courses are kind of a combination of both. You can be smooth, but at times aggressive. So they all kind of have their unique challenges and traits.
What's it like driving for a guy like Michael Andretti, who's seen it all, essentially, has been there, done that? Is everything he says still relevant today to these cars?
Yeah, it's quite the honor to be able to drive for Andretti Autosport, and I think having somebody like Michael, who you can say you're going to test somewhere. Recently we were testing at Phoenix, and I talked to him prior to that, was asking him tips and tricks, and I won't repeat that here because maybe some of the other drivers might be listening. No, it's a great resource, and not only Michael, but just the whole crew. You have the drivers, you have the IndyCar engineers, you have that massive knowledge base that you can tap into.
It's something I have found. Now, I didn't go to college, so I had nothing else to do. I said, what the hell am I going to do if I don't do this? I was an electrician. That worked out real well. But, there's something about racing that you get started and you can't get rid of it. I've been here at the Speedway for almost 60 years. I don't want to leave. I love it. I go by the track and go, ooh, it's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dave Wilson works inside there. They won't let me in, but he's in there. I know he's there. And Ms. Smith is over there with a whip, keeping him going. I don't know what it is about racing other than the fact that you see other professional sports are here. You don't see necessarily, although you do see video once in a while. These guys are Looney Tunes. Drivers and race people, first off, don't do that. In all the years I've been around, I only know 2 guys that got in serious trouble. 2 out of thousands. That everybody has a job, they do it, the crew knows they can't be messing around because your life's at stake. They want to give you a car to win. There's nothing more exciting. And I've been on teams where they had a guy, if everybody else fell out of the race, he wouldn't win. So what you got to work on a car. So, it's a good mesh of people and everybody has to fit together. And, I think, to me, it's the most complete sport because everybody has to do their job or you're in serious trouble. And if they give you it, they wonder how come you didn't win. Mm-hmm. So it's a neat sport.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I've talked to a lot of my friends from college that now work, whether it's big automotive or, tech companies and all that, and I just can't imagine working. I mean, I get to race cars for a living, so does that really work? But it's my passion. It's what I love to do. But I totally agree. Racing is really unique.
Now wait a minute. There's work involved. Do you go to Pit Fit?
Oh yeah.
Aha! You tell me that's not. Well, I was up watching Hinch the other day, and he's standing with a leg with this weight, and I said, you swing the wrong way, you're going to be a soprano. He's lifting weights and pump iron, doing all this stuff. It's not easy. People think, as I did when I first came, I said, hell, they got a truck. At the time I got it was a trailer. Roll it off the trailer. The cars were open. Tires and everything were in the back of a pickup truck. Rolled the car, and I thought, well, they just do that, fired up, and off you go. Oh, did I find out that wasn't true? Especially when I get home at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and somebody's going, time to get up at 4 in the morning, let's go to the oh, jeez. There's a lot of work involved in getting a car right. So I just think it's fabulous. By the way, if you ever have an accident, God hope you don't. See that guy sitting right there? Hope you see him come help you. He's on the fire and safety team. That's Bob Beisel. He's one of the members of the professional team that is there every week. And if you have a problem, he'll look and say, oh, it's Bob. Hi, Bob. Well, actually, you don't want to see him, yeah. He prefers you don't because he plays Parcheesi in the truck waiting for something to happen.
Just walking around in the paddock.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, some of the young drivers coming along, how they started, where they started, why they're here, what's the attraction. Has your goal always been to run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or as you started getting success, I can run Formula One?
Well, yeah, when I was first starting out, as a young Canadian, Formula One's pretty big there, and that was kind of my dream between 14 and 16 kind of thing. I was racing 6.5 horsepower go-karts on fast track to Formula One kind of thing. But as I got into the car racing stuff, I tested a CASCAR, which is at the time it was the Canadian Tire NASCAR series, and I did some Formula Ford stuff and all that, and when I started looking at my options from moving to go-karts to cars, I realized that the Mazda Road to Indy has this excellent program where you can start an F2000, go to Mazda, go to Indy Lights, and then you're knocking on the door of IndyCar, and it's just such a linear, simple progression that you don't see anywhere else, that just made sense from a career point of view.
It is unique in the fact that if you win the thing, you get a scholarship which will allow you, as Spencer Piggott is doing. He's running 3 races, one of which is the 500. The other one's the Indianapolis Grand Prix, and one other event. I forget where it's going to be, Birmingham or someplace, I can't remember. But it's a good program that once you have won, you can move up. But do you see opportunities in the next few years? Because I assume you're going to run at least 1 year, maybe 2 in lights, learn the cars, learn the tracks and so forth, that there'll be some of these old geezers are going to say it's about time, adios, and there'll be some seats open up?
As a young guy coming up, I mean, that's kind of what you hope for. I mean, obviously, you don't want, and we all want to stay in racing as long as we can, so I'm not going to wish anybody out of their ride, but if I can get the opportunity, yeah, I would definitely jump behind the wheel of an Indy car. Yeah.
Who was your sponsor?
K-Line Insulators USA.
Who?
K-Line Insulators USA. So they're they manufacture insulators and end fittings and various hardware for transmission lines, like power lines.
Is it a Canadian company?
It's the American branch of a Canadian company based in Markham, Ontario.
I see. Is there any reason the Canadian lassoed that one?
There's a family connection there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gee, how clever. That's good. That's good. What does your dad do besides restore cars? I'm sure he does something else.
Well, he runs the manufacturing side of K-Line.
Oh. Well, I'll leave that alone. What is it that you would obviously want to win the championship this year? And there's some good drivers in the lights. There's R.C. Enerson coming up. There's any number of guys that are really talented and have got some experience on you. What would you consider a successful season for you?
I think I would approach it like how I approach every time I get in the car. As long as we take as long as I take what I know now and I can improve on that and keep getting better and better, and that's what I'll be focusing on. I would like to think that the results will follow from that approach, but that's kind of my way of going about it.
Does racing when you know today's race day and you get up, God, I can't wait to get there. When you get up in the morning and there's another race in 3 weeks in August, I don't think there's anything going on. Mm-hmm. Are you pumped up to get up and go work out and be ready so the next time that the green flag's ready to drop, I'm ready to go?
Yeah, every day.
Do you study anymore? Have you continued your studying, do a little reading? You got time off to hang around? You can't hang around with Finch and exercise all day. Or Scott Dixon.
I did bring a couple textbooks to Indy, but I really haven't opened them because I don't have any classes and stuff to actually study for anymore. But no, a lot of my time is spent obviously training. I'm at Pit Fit 5 days a week, and then I'll supplement that with some cardio. And then I got into rock climbing recently, so I do quite a bit of that.
All right, we got to hit on that one. I heard, now you're a fairly good-sized guy, that you went rock climbing with a pipsqueak.
Well, he's my climbing partner, and my life is in his hands sometimes, so I won't comment on that.
I beg your pardon? Mr. Veach?
Yeah, so Zach and I, and actually Neil Albarico was with us as well. We were down in Joshua Tree National Park, which is about 3 hours east of Los Angeles. And that's a big climbing destination because we all got into climbing fairly recently. So we figured, hey, it's the off season. Let's go, hang out, camp out, and climb some rocks. And yeah,
I visualize him climbing up, and a wind comes, and pew, he's gone.
He's definitely got the size advantage. There's a lot less mass for him to pull up and all that. So.
Good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And you'll be running along, and he'll pass you, and you say, and I had a chance to push him off that rock. He's a good kid. I find it interesting. Back when I started hanging around racing, if you had a dispute with another driver you didn't like, he cut you off, or you didn't like something, you go out in the parking lot with a 2x4 or a tire iron, settle it. And then the next day they go borrow parts from each other to fix your cars to go racing that night and do the same thing all over again in all probability. But you guys seem to hang out and run around. I see stuff from Connor Daly. He's hanging around with Marco and Hinch, and that's going to be his downfall, hanging around with those guys.
You got to watch out for those Canadians.
I know. You got to be careful. The mayor of Hinchtown, he thinks he's really hot stuff, but he's not. He's not that. Do you think about that when you're, we were just climbing rocks 2 weeks ago, now he's trying to beat me. What's with that? Does that cross your mind, or you put that completely out?
No, I think, for my, even through karting and all that, I've always been the type where I can separate what happens on track and what's off track. We're all there for our own success, and that's how it's going to be. We're going to race each other as hard as we can, and hopefully, the guys that you like, you can race each other clean and hard. But the ones that show respect back and all that, I don't have a problem hanging out with them and having friendships there.
What was it like the first time you were have you run at the Speedway yet?
On the road course, never on the actual.
Well, that's right. You go down the main straightaway backwards, but you go down the main straight. Does the speed concern you if you're running, because you're going to have the ability to run both ways? And the speed, and you look in the mirror, and there's a guy right there, and you're going 197 miles an hour. You think, "Jeez, Louise!" And that fence is going zip. Wow. Does that concern you? Does the speed bother you, or do you love the speed? That's part of it, and that's what you want.
I love it. It's definitely part of it. Yeah.
Huh? Do you drive fast on 465?
No.
Somehow I don't necessarily buy that story. What kind
Apparently not fast enough tonight.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's not a problem. Do you have a PR? Do you have a website?
I do, yes.
And the address is?
It's DaltonKellett.com.
What do you mean, Dalton? You forgot who you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
So DaltonKellett.com.
.com.
Yeah. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all Dalton Kellett. You can just plug it into the search bar, and it should be one of the first ones to show up.
You're on Facebook, too? Do you like Facebook?
Yeah, I actually liked your page just before I came here.
Yeah, it had you on it. How did I do?
Pretty good. Pretty
I
good.
see. Did I get your resume pretty well covered?
Yeah, most of the important points.
Oh, I see. What do you mean? That's what I got. Do you have a lot of followers? Are you getting more as you come along, as people start recognizing and mentioning your name? Oh,
it definitely started to build when I signed with Andretti Autosport. I think that really kind of helped boost me a little bit. And now being with Lights, they have a much stronger social media platform, so that's been a big help too.
Does Tammy help you out, and Diane? Do they help you and push you to get into the social media and to build the followers and so forth?
Oh yeah, they're always on us, pushing the Team Cooper Tire hashtags and the hashtag MRTI. Yep, Cooper Tires.
I wore that because you were coming. Not that you're going to give me Cooper Tires, but I just thought I'd wear it anyway. What do you think of the program that Dan Anderson's put together from a driver's perspective, and having to, I guess, not strain your milk to get a sponsor necessarily, but to bring a sponsor? Do you think that he's put together a program that's worth the effort, worth the money?
I 100% agree. Yeah, from a driver's standpoint of trying to show the value to potential sponsors of what we're doing, having a program that shows a very clear path to IndyCar, which is obviously the big game. That's for a sponsor that there's a lot of value there. So I think showing that they can invest in people who are at who are on the way there is definitely a good thing.
Are you set up to do all the testing that's allowed? Mm-hmm. You guys are set to go. You got a budget that'll handle all that?
Yeah, we'll be doing plenty of testing. We've already had a few days in the car. We just got back from we were at Homestead Miami Speedway on the road course doing some testing there. So,
how'd you like Phoenix?
Phoenix was great. I had a great time. Yeah, really liked it.
I'm kind of disappointed because they changed the track because NASCAR running there didn't run for hoot. Mm-hmm. So they changed it. Now, it used to be, in my day, and when they used to run at the same time with the Copper World Classic, which was the Silver Crown cars, and they used to pack the place. If you ran good at Phoenix, you ran good at Speedway. Now, why exactly, I'm not an engineer, I don't know, but it seemed to translate. If you ran good there when you got here, you ran very well. I don't know if that's going to translate. We shall find out. But is it a good track, a good racing track that'll have more than one lane?
Well, when we were there, there were only us, and it was myself, my teammate Shelby Blackstock, and one other car from Yunko. So we didn't really get a lot of opportunities to run in traffic. So I can't really comment on whether what the other lines are going to be like and all that. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it was a great track to run on.
You drove for Team Pelfrey. He's been around for quite a while. He was in early on when the Indy Racing League started, and has been around a long time. Was that a good training ground? Because he doesn't get up to lights. I think he just runs, USF 2000, I think Pro Mazda now.
Well, they recently acquired some Indy Lights assets, so I think they might be fielding a car this
really?
This year. Yeah.
Oh, I did see that. Come to think of it, I did notice that. Good team. Well, what do you think? Are you going to be prepared when you get down to St. Pete?
100%.
100%. No? Who said no? Jeez. What kind of talk is that? You know him? Never saw him before. Nope. Neither did I. How do you prepare for a street course? I mean, if you open the season at a street course, how do you prepare for that?
If you can get some simulator time, and then looking at past onboard videos, talking to drivers who have been there before, and then your track walk is really important because you get to see all the specifics of the road, where it's on camber, off camber kind of thing, and all that. So,
well, fortunately in St. Pete there's no railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a problem. Where do you go for sim? Have you been up to Darren Manning's place?
I've seen it, but I haven't been there. I've done a little bit of time on the Delaris sim.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so you haven't been to the the partner right around the corner from Pit Fit.
Yeah, I think it's
Kelly
it's
Jones.
I did some work with I think it's Racecraft 1, Kelly Jones. Yeah, back in actually when I was racing with Team Pelfrey in 2013.
Well, he's still there.
Yep.
He shows up once in a while, too.
Oh.
Every time I go up there, he's in Phoenix. I don't know what the attraction is there, but...
Weather.
Often, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm very pleased that Diane let me know that you were available. I'm glad to have met you. I like having members of the Pro Mazda series here so that these fans, and most of them will be at races around, know who you are. So when you come up and they hear Dalton, oh, yeah, I saw him. I know who he is. And we're on YouTube, so there'll be maybe 3 people watch.
Hi, Mom.
So we want to wish you well. And you're with a good team. They'll give you a good car, and from what I understand, you'll get results.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Don.
Dalton Kellett, excuse me. I want to mention we have a special guest in house tonight. My lady friend has 5 daughters. One of the 5 is here. She came all the way from East Lansing, Michigan. She couldn't stay away from me. It's hard to believe, I know. But she told me to say that. So I'll say it. She is a mother of 2. And when the fine lady's around, please say hello to Dawn Williams, sitting in the white sweater. Probably for the next 2 days she's here, she won't talk to me. You know what you did? Nothing. Now, next week, I have a couple of feelers out for somebody, but one of my guests will be the irrepressible. Do you know Anders Krohn?
Oh, I know Anders very well, yeah.
He'll be here. He's getting away from getting the wedding together. He'll be here next Tuesday. Haven't talked to him in a while, so it should be interesting. He's quite a character. And if you want to know who my guests are, there's 2 ways to find out. The simplest one is to go to autosportradio.com, click on the current show page. When I get my guests, they'll appear there. Or you can take a chance, and you can watch Facebook, the Autosport Radio Facebook page or Don K Facebook page. Either one, you'll see my guests listed there, as this young man found. I want to thank everyone for coming out. If you're not in Indianapolis, good. We're supposed to get 60-mile-an-hour winds and rain, although none of that showed up yet, so I think they're full of hooey as usual. But we will be here next week, same time, same place. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Don K. from McGilvery Speedway in the town of Speedway saying good night. I sent her a message this morning. I said, let Ryan know.